Okay, let's get it. Black girl magic dripping. Yeah, she's on a mission. Keeping our culture lifted. Now you can watch and listen. It's Tammi Mac. Tammi Mac. Oh, what show is that? It's the Tammi Mac Show on Fox. So, Tammi Mac. Tammi Mac. Yeah, ooh, that. Tammi Mac. Tammi Mac. Hey, so you know it's Tammi Mac. Hey, Tammi Mac.
Welcome to the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul. Like I say, it's Monday. You got a whole week to do that thing all over again, baby. What does it mean to be Black in America and to have a dream? Ponder on this vision, if you will. You in the NBA, making millions of dollars and winning championship rings. Yes. Oh, vision this. You accepting an Academy Award and giving the speech of a lifetime. Yes. You dancing with the Alvin Ailey Company or being an OBGYN or plastic surgery. Yeah. Why not be a plastic surgeon? Hell, they making all the money today. I see you there. Where? Well, wherever you want to be. But perhaps, I don't know, forces of nature or American traditional standards have kept you away from what your heart most desires. Well, tonight, we are continuing our two-part conversation about why Black people fear living out their dreams and the lessons they've learned along the way, and more importantly, how to turn your dreams into reality. The business of being Black tonight on the Tammi Mac Late Show is the fear of Black people living out their dreams. Please welcome back to this conversation, actor and coach Richard Lawson. How you doing, Richard?
Hey, good to be here. Good to be here.
Casting director and executive producer Tracy Twinkie Bird. Hey, Twinkie.
Hey, everyone.
Writer, director, and producer Don B. Welch. What's up, Don B?
Hey, I'm glad to be back.
And licensed psychologist and the co-pastor of the Experience Christian Ministries, Dr. Shalonda Crawford, aka putting a smile all up on your face, Dr. Sunshine.
Hey.
So I'll start with this. What does it mean to be Black in America and have a dream? Twinkie, you want to get us started?
Ooh, what does it mean to have a dream and be Black in America?
Yeah.
So many things pop up into my head, but first and foremost, to have a dream is to be divinely inspired, in my opinion. It's to be literally divinely inspired, to have a dream, and then to wake up and implement, to wake up and take action in that, with that dream in mind. But that dream came to you for a reason, and like Richard says, it's a part of your purpose. Now, what are you willing to do? What are you ready to do? How are you going to move?
Can you be Black and have a dream in America?
Absolutely. Of course you can be. Absolutely, you can be Black and have a dream. The challenge becomes moving into it. The challenge is moving into it and moving towards it, and how we have to push past fear, push past the naysayers, push past the past, the actual past.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, the actual past and what we have seen happen to others, and how we can overcome, take that inspiration, the obstacles, and overcome that. But
you brought up Richard, so Richard, we'll ask you, what does it mean to be Black in America and have a dream?
Well, you know, I want to piggyback on what Twinkie was saying in terms of the stuff we have to push past. You know, the interesting thing about it is that, you know, instead of pushing past what happened, let's go back and reconnect with what did happen. You know, the one thing that I recognized is the fact that Black people have more resilience than anybody to be able to survive that journey and then get here and survive all the stuff that we're now trying to push past. It's like if we connect with the ancestral thing, the things that's still in our DNA, we know that we can overcome anything. It's when people come here and they learn this middle class way that we get stuck and lost. It's when you get connected and reconnect with who you are and who your ancestors have been, And the fact that you can create anything, because most of what has been created was just a play on what we've already done, the real inventors of the world.
Yep.
So it's about connecting, going back to connect to go forward.
I want to come back to you after I get to Don B. Welch and Dr. Crawford, Dr. Sunshine. I want to come back to you on that middle class thing because there's something there we need to kind of get into. Don B., what does it mean to be Black and have a dream in America?
It means that anything is possible if you want to dream it. The problem comes in, will you be allowed to dream it? And I don't mean as yourself. I mean in terms of, what are the roadblocks there? And unfortunately, sometimes the roadblocks are our own. And we can dream all day, but like I said last week, if we're not in a position or put ourselves in a place where we have that support, oftentimes a dream stays right there as a dream. I don't care who you are and what you do and where you're going. If indeed you have a dream, you cannot do it on your own. You have to have support. And that support can come from anywhere, but it doesn't mean you stop dreaming if you don't get the support. What it simply means is that there's an opportunity for us all to be able to dream. It's just that we are African American, Black in this country, where so many things are against us, even when we try to do stuff like dreams. And it's not just the other person, or it's right there in our own backyard. We got to get past that. There's so much more that we have to be able to move out of the way. But dreaming, it's nothing like it. Dare to dream. We have to do that. And I don't know whether being Black should be the issue of it. Because everybody, I know we're talking about Black, but everybody should be able to dream. Are we allowed to be able to dream as free as somebody else? What's stopping? What are we allowed in America as African Americans to be able to dream without having all the roadblocks? And the answer most of the time is no. We got to fight past that, like Richard said also, and Twinkie, going back to where we came from, being the most resilient of people. It's us. Nobody has dealt with what we've dealt with, and we're still standing.
Yeah. Dr. Sunshine, what does it mean to be Black in America and have a dream?
Well, I may be a little biased being Black myself, but I definitely feel like we are a talented people, and arguably, in my opinion, the most talented people on the planet. I'm a piggyback. We've been oppressed for so long that a dream gives us something to hope for, aspire for, or aspire towards. And that's what dreaming does. It gives us something to hang on to and hope for. We're powerful people. We've done wonderful things. So yeah, dream big, Black folks.
Dream big, Black folks. So I have to go back to you, Richard. You say we get caught up in this middle class system. What exactly does that mean?
Well, it's an interesting thing when the whole concept of success for us is to get an education and go to one of those schools, and that happens to be white schools, and you grow up in white schools, and they don't teach you the real thing in terms of who we are, what we are, who anybody is really. And so you grow up, taking on the values that are associated with capitalism, associated with making money, associated with status and success. And you start losing some of your drive, your will, your intention, your imagination. Your imagination is your will working against the materials of memory, not satisfied with the ordinary course of nature. And so that you're seeking things that are beyond limitations, and you're breaking past the boundaries of being realistic and being logical, and which lead the road to mediocrity is straight down the being realistic road. And so therefore, infiltrating into this system takes all of your spirit away, all of your drive away, and tries to make you like the Joneses, which is the elixir for mediocrity.
Ooh, say that. Yes.
So basically, we're growing up thinking that what we should do is get an education at a PWI,
Yes.
get a good job,
Yes.
have 2 kids and a picket fence and a husband or a wife, and then get yourself a 401k and find your nice little savings nudge. And then within all of the scopes and the ramifications of that, internally exists a dream that is never fulfilled.
Let me ask you a question. You ever hear people talk about white kids being spoiled? It was always black kids who were spoiled because of the fact that they were too loud and they were too inquisitive and they were reaching out and they were climbing up. So they got their brains beat out because their parents didn't want to upset them white folks.
Yes,
you understand? And so therefore your dream becomes gossamer. Gossamer, meaning like smoking a cigarette, you take it in and you blow it out and you see it at first, and before long it just disappears into the atmosphere.
It disappears. Oh my God. Yes. Oh my God. Okay, the chat room's going off now.
That's why I went to RLS, you see.
Go ahead, go ahead, Twinkie. It sounds like you got something to say. Say it.
This right here is the reason why I attended this man's class. This is the reason why, because he literally sets you on fire, and then you leave, and you are just flames out in the world, just igniting other people. Just that's what he does. That's what he does, and I'm so thankful for it, because that energy literally just. Like a phoenix. I thought I was living out loud. Nope. Nope.
So Dr. Sunshine, I want you to talk about the difficulties of climbing the socio-economic ladder and the myth of the American dream, which is exactly what Richard was talking about. So I want you to speak to that too.
Climbing the socio-economic ladder. First of all, I mean, we have to get our mindsets out of poverty. Yeah. So we first have to move past poverty, starving for something kind of mentality, and not just have a dream outside of that, but know that our minds, our ideas, our skills, our abilities, our God-given gifts are bigger than the ghetto and then the lower socioeconomic class. And we can strive to climb that ladder. We got what it takes to climb that ladder. Black History Month, let me tell you, I got put on game. Do y'all know how many things that Black folks invented and didn't get credit for? We don't have to be poverty stricken. We have great ideas. We have great physical ability. We are a talented people. Think big, dream big, folks.
Look, let me say that I'm okay. let me just put y'all in my business real quick. I have no business doing this. I hope Jackson don't get mad. But just today, Jackson, my husband, Jackson came to me. He said, no, I got an email. I received an email from our mortgage company saying that the mortgage was now on, automatic pay. And I went to Jackson and I said, we can't be putting no mortgage on automatic pay. They can't just come out of the bank. I know. He was like, would you get out of your poverty mentality, please?
It starts here. It starts here.
You just gonna let him just take it now.
Yeah.
You want to be able to pay it when you got ready.
When I get ready, that's right. I'm like, how you gonna know? How you know that's gonna be there when they take it? He was like,
absolute
look,
faith. That's what
you need to get out of your poverty mentality.
But that's
I feel that. I feel that, Dr. Sunshine. I absolutely feel that. We are in a place that we can seem to never get out of. I know I used to, for years and years and years, I used to say, I'm broke for years. And then my husband was like, why do you say you broke all the time? And this was before he was my husband. He's like, why do you say that all the time? And I was like, because I am. And he was like, but you're not. And it's so even when it's not true, we still live in it.
Well, because we put a ceiling on stuff. When we put a ceiling on the things that we want and where we want to go, we cap it ourselves. Instead of it just being intimate, like this infinity. We say, well, if I can just get that much to pay that bill on that day, I'm gonna be good. Well, already you've put yourself in a place of, I can't go higher than that.
Right.
So you have to dream with no ceiling.
People
hold that thought, Richard. We're going to take a quick break and we're going to come right back. Soulmates, I see you chiming in the chat. We're going to come to you next when the Tammi Mac Late Show returns on Fox Soul. Welcome back to the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul, where tonight the business of being Black is, why don't Black people live out their dreams? Why do we fear it? Why are we so afraid to think that we can have and do more when all of our history concludes that we are indeed the most, okay? Let me go to the chat room here. Official Andrea Jones says, hold on, I got two. Okay, yes, I want to win an Oscar, Golden Globe, and Grammy for songwriting in TV, film. Let me see, it's a little long. TV, film. Oh, for TV and film. Incog says, it takes a village. No man or woman is an island by his or herself. Inside Reed's World says, come on, Dawn. Deborah Will says, okay, this is the message I've been listening to all day, so I must birth my dreams. And then Kay Crawford says, hey, Dr. Sunshine. Quentin Hawkins says, hey, Uncle Don. So we got a lot of people chiming in tonight. Let me see. This is okay, here we go. That was a deliverance message for Black people. Okay, that was to Richard. That was Mr. Lawson is awesome. I love to hear him speak. I tune into Richard's weekend seminars sometimes, and I feel the same way even on a Zoom webinar. He gets you fired up to dream and put some action to fulfill it. So we were on you before we left, Richard. You remember that thought?
Yes, I do. You know, listen, your dream has to be laughable. Otherwise, it's not worth the fame that you're seeking. So therefore, in terms of having that dream, oftentimes because of the way that you've trained and because of the way that you've been suppressed and because there's so much no that comes into your universe, you think, well, you know what? I can't afford it. I don't have I don't have the money right now. I don't have the means. And so it just sits there. And we know what happens to a dream deferred. It dries up like a raisin in the sun, or festers like a sore and then runs, stinks like rotten meat, or crusting sugar over like a syrupy sweet. Maybe it just sags like a heavy load, or it explodes. So what has to happen is that you have to have that dream, and if it's connected to your purpose, you will find a way to finance it. You will find a way to bring in the money, because your energy, the universe will get out of the way and let that money flow to you. When you put up these negative kind of, pessimistic things, it stops that energy from coming in. In order to let that energy come in, you have to assume that you're already successful. You have to be able to see it complete and never give up on that backward thinking with forward motion.
So let's talk about the energy and the energy of positivity when it comes to filling out your dreams. If you've never seen anyone close to you or directly connected to you live out their own dreams, then how do you even turn these thoughts of, I can't do that, I don't even know nobody? How do you turn that into, I know everybody? Like, I guess what I'm asking here is, what's the difference between faking it till you make it, and honestly believing in yourself? And do those two different variations of that lead to different results? Dr. Sunshine?
I'm an advocate for fake it till you make it, because if you keep faking it, eventually you definitely will make it. And this, I feel like I can connect to this, because for so long I had dreams and aspirations that I did not believe that I could touch. What do you do if you have no examples, no support whatsoever? Then we're kind of left to intrinsic, internal desires. But in platforms like this, where there are people to tell us you can, even if nobody around you is doing it. But I would like to say that I think it's very important that we speak life, we speak positivity, and not in addition to striving for the dream, to see the dream and then to speak it. Words have power. And we got to have faith in ourselves. First, faith comes by hearing. So sometimes you have to say the things that you actually need to hear. And if you continue to say it, you continue to hear it, you can have faith in yourself that the dream can come true. That's the reason why I don't want anyone saying, I'm broke. No, I'm wealthy. I'm not in the ghetto. I'm living comfortably. So speak those things that are not as if they were, and then eventually by faith become those things. Keeping in mind that you have to be skilled in those areas.
Right.
You do, purposed in those ares. So all those things come into play.
It starts
with point. You do have to be skilled and purposed. Yeah,
but as far as I'm concerned, it's a lot of it starts with you, us, and then who you have in your circle. Who are you surrounding yourself with? Who are you allowing in your energy spot? That has a lot to do with it, because it's literally, if somebody, I know it sounds crazy, but if somebody says to you every day of your life, when you know the sky is blue, they say, the sky is green today. You're like, what are you talking about? It's not green. No, it's green. If you allow that person to say that to you every day, no matter how strong you are, if you turn that off, you're going to start listening. You're going to start watching and say, well, is it a little green? You got to be careful who's in your space and your energy. That's very important. It starts with you. Everything starts with inside you. I'm very careful who's in my circle. I mean, and sometimes that's family too. You got to know who's around you and what they bring you.
So Twinkie, let me ask you this. Are you lying to yourself if you fill yourself with these positive affirmations and really don't believe it?
If you don't believe it, but I believe it. I literally would visualize myself as a child, as a young person. I would visualize that daydreaming. That daydreaming that child daydreams all the time. What's wrong with that child? All of that are the visuals that I saw in my head about moving to Los Angeles, or creating a talent show in the church basement, or doing some kind of, every single time I wanted to do or implement something, I was daydreaming it out first, how I wanted to see it, how I wanted to create it, what I wanted, and then had to figure out the way, research, books. I was watching documentaries as a kid. I was inspired by movies and television shows and all of the people that I saw around me. And you'd be surprised what's put in your face as you are doing this. It's like, that's a sign. This is a sign. Keep stepping, keep going that way. Like I willed myself from being an assistant to casting. And I said, one day somebody's going to want my autograph. That's what I said to myself. I've been saying that to myself since I was a kid. So I was practicing my autograph. My sister was practicing her autograph. Like, that's how we started to groom ourselves. And you can groom yourself. It's ours to do. It's my mind to create.
And sometimes you find yourself being alone in doing that. And that's okay. That's okay.
I think it's amazing too. The question was, what if there was no one to encourage you? And what I'm hearing, even from this panel, is sometimes it's within you, because just like Twinkie and Don, I had dreams. I could see myself there. And, I'll just double back and say, earlier I mentioned ghetto, but let me tell you, I was there, and some of the most encouraging experiences of my life happened in the place that is labeled the ghetto. The people, Don, you say the circle, the village, the experiences, and I wouldn't trade any of my hardships for anything else in the world. Those are the things that strengthened me, prepared me, gave me legs, because you can't have no thin skin trying to reach a big dream.
Especially
I have to say
persevere and endure.
Some of those hardcore people certainly helped me out. I used to date a lot of drug dealers in my past, and most of them purchased my books for college and forced me to do my homework before we could go out. So
damn.
You gotta reframe the idea of the quote unquote ghetto. It ain't
Right.
always a
Well, that's not our word anyway. That's
right.
Come on here.
Never
Come on here.
applied to.
Not at all.
That was a whole nother group of people.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So do Black people still to this day have to work as hard to get to where white folk are?
Well, if you keep your mind, if that's your goal,
Benchmark for you.
if
That's a benchmark for me.
if that's your goal to be able to get where they are,
Not my benchmark.
yeah, no, I don't think like that. I don't look at that as the bullseye. I don't.
We created this whole thing.
I'm not trying to shoot the arrow in that bullseye. I really am not.
I'm with you,
But
Don.
Tammi, I think about you did a segment on the radio recently, and you were talking about Stacey Biles. I think we do have to work twice as hard. In many instances, we shouldn't have to, but they're not scoring her flips and allowing her to get her just due. She gotta do a little bit more.
Oh, Simone.
Simone Biles.
I'm sorry, Simone.
Oh, honey.
You know what?
No, they're not gonna listen. She's doing things that only she can do, like you
right.
said.
So in a way, we do have to work extra hard.
That's gonna be smart work.
It's not getting her just.
Well, that's why they started to get on Serena about her outfits, because they couldn't get on her playing. They started talking about her outfits.
Hey, the reality is that, it's interesting because, I came in the show business in 1969. So I was real clear. It didn't take me no time to see the fact that there was nothing in this business that was laid out for me. It was a desert. There were no oases anywhere. And so I had to put those oases in place. I had to make them in place. I had to have a vision for what I wanted to do, and I had to do it by not letting the system get me down and not buying into the negativity of traversing the obstacle course. I knew that I had to work hard, and I was okay with that because that's the only condition that was there. So therefore, I wasn't going to let them get me into a place where I was going to blame the white man for this. If I was white, then this would have happened. No. First of all, I understand that if I'm trying to get into their game and stand in line and wait for them to give me my roses and my credit and my flowers, no, I have to create my own and create it enough where they want to come like they did, with rap music, and they were selling it out of the trunk. They made them come to them.
Welcome back to the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul. If you want more of this content, just go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. And you can also get more live shows, new videos, and make sure you click that thumbs up and tell us that you're liking what we're doing. How about that? We're going to you soulmates that are on our YouTube chatting with us right now. Therese says, hard work never kill nobody. Elevate. All right, now, Therese.
Yes,
Incog says, Tammi, those drug dealers saw a bigger vision for you, and that is why they pushed you to focus on your books. I hope they ain't trying to ask for their money back.
Right.
Rosalind Campbell says, but when we outdo them, they want to change the rules and move the goal line every time. We got to make our own goal lines regardless of them.
Look at the voting, what they're doing with voting right now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
So how has trauma stopped Black people from wanting to do better for themselves and their families when it comes to living their dreams?
You want to go all the way back?
Go ahead.
Okay, let's go back to the trauma of selling off your children. That's the trauma. The trauma of selling off your kids. If this one is strong and that one is beautiful, then this one can breed this thing and that one can do that work. So that type of trauma is passed down through our DNA. And
Oh
that's
yeah.
trauma
Yeah,
that
or like you said, a brother and sister happened to be just a shade lighter than you
yep.
during that time where you were in the house.
hmm
He was outside.
Separation.
Yeah.
Separation.
You know, post-traumatic stress, if you want, if we can call it that, black people have been living in post-traumatic stress for 400 years, and that is real. I mean, it is real, and the only way that we get past it, those that have, is by recognizing that it is a real thing, and that it's almost genetic in the sense that it gets passed down, these behaviors. But the beauty is that we have to learn how to turn chicken shit into chicken salad.
There we go.
There it
We
is.
got to learn how to turn.
Come on.
We have to learn how to turn a sow's ear into a silk purse, from manure into fertilizer. And we've been able to do that. That's why the food that we've eaten in the South and soul food is the throwaway. And we turn that into delicacy. We have been known to turn stuff, bad stuff, throwaway stuff into delicacy. And we got to take, as an artist, all of that trauma that is in my universe and that I've seen pass through my family, I put it into my art. Let it speak through my music. Duke Ellington said, whenever I felt the need to pout, I wrote some blues instead. We got to do that.
BP says that's why we're always better than them in the end, because we have to work harder than them. That brings excellence. It does. I mean,
It does.
If you're playing Venus all the time, then obviously you're going to be better than Venus at some point, Serena,
Absolutely.
right? Like, let's use that as an example. Incog says, question for you, Richard. What do you miss about the industry that was around when you entered or peaked that was better than you wish the current industry would return to now?
Well, all of business has turned into this. When we came up in the early days, the guy that ran the studio started in the mailroom, and he worked up and he became a PA, an assistant, and then a first director, a second director, first director, unit production manager, producer, executive producer, studio, running the studio. So he operated from understanding the whole system, and he operated from his instinct and his impulse, and he trusted stuff, and there was more trust. Casting directors had more say in what was going on. They had an instinct about a person and they could get it in. Today, it's all so secular, like silos. People are experts in only the area that they're expert in, so there's no real sense of creativity. The creativity is down into metrics now, and we hire and we let things go. This is a better actor, but this person has more followers, so we're going to choose the more follower person than the person who's actually going to make people feel something. That's the and it's in music, it's in all of art. It's become mathematical rather than instinctual, and in terms of your feeling and your emotion and your wisdom. All of that is out of it now. That's the biggest difference.
So Don B, how can our fears cripple our dreams?
When we allow it. Simple as that. When we allow it. When we allow it, and that says a lot about, once again, your surroundings. Who are you around? Who's talking to you? Who can you bounce off of things with? There was a time in the 70s, and I would say really 70s and 80s, but that when you had actors, let's start talking actors right now, where you found all of them got together. It was like a community, especially in New York with the Negro ensemble. I missed the fact that, and even though I was a kid during that time, I'm reading books on stuff like that, where we don't hang together like that. It's all a lot of times it's all about me, instead of that getting together and having that conversation and that support system of what you're doing. Why can't I call you if there's something? Listen, why can't I call you and tell you, hey, this particular gig's not for me as a director or producer, but I know you can handle it. There was a time when you would pick, they had groups of people together like that. I can start naming them. It was the Robert Hooks. It was the B. Richards. It was the Esther Roll. It was the Richard Lawson. It was all. It was
Glenn Turman.
Glenn. They were all together. They could get, and when they would go through, oh, I'm going to cuss. When they would go through things, they would sit together after and talk about it amongst each other. We don't do that anymore. We're so afraid that somebody gonna get something over us and pass us by, when in fact that whole community is not there anymore. So it starts with self, but damn, you can't just be about self. You got to really, really be about pulling somebody else with you and not being afraid that they might pass you that day. It did not happen. Look at male actors, black actors, female black. How many get together and have that organization? I remember when Judy Pace and them did one together when I was a little kid for women. It was called Kwanzaa. They had a whole organization of black actresses together. They did social things together. They talked about it's no longer. And if it is, and somebody might say, why don't you start it? But I don't want to be on the island by myself.
So, Dr. Sunshine, how can our fears, how can our fears cripple our dreams? In what sense?
Well, I think fears cripple your dreams when they stagnate you, when they paralyze you, when they stop you. We've already established that we're dreaming big. So if you're dreaming big and trailblazing, then it's to be expected that there's going to be some fear, but we have to push through the fear. And keep in mind, the talented will always be targeted. So, if you're leading the pack, then you're always going to be the targeted. So there will be fear, but we have to push past the fear and make sure that no matter what, we're going to keep moving forward towards the goal. That's eyes on the prize.
Time, Dr. Sunshine. People always say you have to push past your fear. Yes. How do we push past our fear?
Don't jump.
It's tenacity.
Yeah.
It's knowing that there's no other option. Right. You have a dream and you take down the exit sign. I'm going there and there's nothing that can stop me, but it's also purpose. Mm-hmm. When you know that this is what your purpose to do and you believe that, then nothing can stop you. I had a fear of failure at one point. How did I get over the fear of failure? It was clearly knowing what I'm purposed to do. And I can't accomplish my purpose without moving past this feeling of fear. And I think that's the antidote.
Well, speaking of fear, I want to talk about our panel's fears when we return, because I'm interested. We got all these strong people who living out their dreams on the panel. I want to know a time when you were quite fearful that you had to get over. I want to make you human so we can relate, because a lot of us can't just jump, Twinkie. We got to see some examples of what happened was.
Come on, let's go.
We're going to do that when we return on the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul. Welcome back to the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul, where we are talking to Dr. Crawford, better known as Dr. Sunshine. Yes, she is really a doctor of psychology, and also executive producer and casting director Twinkie Bird, writer, producer, director Don B. Welch, and of course, acting coach. I personally call him a life coach. But what do you call yourself, Richard? Well, what would you call it? Because literally when people take your class and they come to me, they're always like, oh my God, my world has changed. It's never about the acting. It's about their life.
Well, that the life and the acting passes through their life. And if you can manage your life, then you can put it into your vision. I like to refer to myself as a dream weaver.
Dream weaver. Yes, yes. So Deborah Will says, yes, Don, community is what we need again. And Rosalind Campbell says, when your talents get abused and you're gaslighted into believing you're not good enough, I guess that's the time when you have to have your little mustard seed prepared to believe in yourself, right?
Right.
So I want to talk about your fears. I want to talk about a time where you all had to get over a fear, and how did you do it? Like, what literally did you do, Twinkie?
Got on a plane.
Mm.
I literally got on the plane. But you know, before I got on the
So
plane,
what was the fear?
coming to Los Angeles and doing what I do. So I come from New York, as Brooklyn, and moving to Los Angeles. Thankfully, I had my brother here.
Well, I was going to say, were you still afraid? Jeff Bird, who is a director,
Yes.
is your brother. How
Right.
could you be afraid with your brother here, who's a director, who's already kind of in the mix of things? How are you still afraid?
Those aren't my friends and my people. So he had his own group of people and his own friends, and I appreciated that. But I was moving to a whole other city and state with a different energy, and with my energy, with my focus, with the way I saw things, and I had to learn a lot along the way. But I was afraid. I was afraid to get on that plane. I was comfortable doing what I did in New York, and now moving to Los Angeles. At that time, I was uncomfortable. But prior to moving, I had a near death illness. So much so that even more recently, I told my own doctor the illness that I had, and she didn't believe me. I had to send her pictures so that she could see how close to death I actually was. And you don't want to wait until you get to a place like that in order to then take the jump. But after that, I was like, okay, well, I mean, I've been so close to death, I got to try it. And once you start doing it, to be honest, that fear of getting on the plane and flying, once you do it, for me, once I did that and I start doing things, even the small things that I'm afraid of, once I start doing it again and again and again, after a while, fear is a part of the process. It's a
Oh,
part
that's
of
good. Fear
going
is
in
a
the
part
right
of the
direction.
process. That's good.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. After a while, fear is a part of the process and it just becomes, it
Yeah.
is what it is.
It is what
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. Don,
Yeah.
when were you fearful about something and what did you do to move in that?
Getting to a point that I left a 9 to 5 job and decided to just jump in the water and say, okay, this is what you're gonna do. I was in so much despair doing something that I did not love, but what I thought I had to do to survive, that I didn't even see past my way out of it. And I can remember it like it was yesterday because it actually happened in Los Angeles in 2005. I was doing a job that I hated. I was there. I was just making ends meet. I was thinking about my parents when they were saying, "Well, make sure you have your rent, pay your bills." And I'm gonna tell you something. When I went through that whole situation, it was that I one day got in the car and I just said, you know what? I'm not going back tomorrow. And I didn't have much of a savings at that time. I didn't even have another job to go to, but I knew I had gotten to the point where I couldn't take. I was getting sick there. I was getting sick there because I couldn't see. I kept thinking about the security of it. Sometimes you just have to jump in the water and not know that it's cold or warm. You just got to jump in there and see how it hits your body. And I did. I just left. And I don't want you to think it was all roses after that. It wasn't. There were times when I said, well, shit, should I have left? But I never turned back because I knew that I knew one thing. I never felt better than I felt then when I said, I'm not going back. And people would say, well, what's your plan? Do you have a job? I don't know right now. I just know I'm not going back.
Wow. Richard,
And I
can you
didn't go.
share with us?
Yeah, I've had to overcome many fears in my life, which was, between Vietnam, being a combat medic in Vietnam, and, drug addiction and being able to survive that, and plane crashes and being able to survive that. But the greatest fear for me is not listening to that truth that I know that is available for me for in every situation. When my first impression, when I don't follow my first impression, that sixth sense, that thing that then it's fearful because I know that I'm following the weaker part of myself. I'm following that part that needs a euphoric experience as opposed to an authentic one. When I am not authentic, then I'm operating in fear, and there's nothing more uncomfortable.
I had to let that one soak in. Shit, I think I've been operating in fear for a long time now. Because you just go about life and you do these things that they don't feel comfortable to you.
Yeah.
They don't make you happy, but everything on the surface seems to look okay, even to you. You're like, I'm good.
That's that middle class thing.
Inside.
That's the middle class thing that kicks in that will tell you, no, dude, what's wrong with you? Get your ass over there and do that. Do that thing. And you know, that ain't it. That ain't it.
Happy.
That ain't it, sis.
You're trying
That
to
ain't
please.
it.
You're trying to please. You're trying to not be wrong. You're trying to, you don't want to make a mistake.
That's it. Dr. Sunshine, I want to hear about your fear. And how'd you get over it?
You know what? I mean, I have been faced with so many fears. I had a hard time narrowing down which one I wanted to land on. As I think, though, most recently.
Hold that thought. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come right
Okay.
back on the Tammi Mac Late Show and find out what Dr. Sunshine's fear is and how on earth did she move past the fear. We're coming back on the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul. Well, we're about to wrap up, but before we do, Dr. Sunshine, please tell us the time that you feared and got over it, moved past it. What did you do? How did you do it?
Well, Tammi, most recently, I passed a licensure exam, but not after failing it 5 times. And of course, I thought for a good little while, maybe I need to rethink becoming licensed. Maybe I need to rethink being a psychologist and starting my own private practice. I might need to rethink that because maybe I cannot pass that test. But how did I get past it? I got past it because the commonality in all the fears I've ever faced is that I have to continue to work while scared. Work while scared. And I hate to keep driving it, but I also understood that my purpose was wrapped up in being a licensed psychologist because I can't do what I aspire to do without that license. So knowing who I am helped me to push past the fear, work through the scaredness, if that's a word.
Let me wrap up on some of our soulmates here. Incog says, so basically data science is ruining the art and casting process. That's what they said. Red says fear, fight equality and respectfully elevate the fear. Okay. Inside Reed's World. Yes, Twinkie, fear is part of the process. They're agreeing with your part of the process. And then Tam A says, come on, Don. Come on, Don. I guess you said something that they appreciate. On that note, I just want to get to your projects. What can what can we look forward to from each of you? Dr. Sunshine.
Well, Dr. Sunshine just recently started that private practice, and you guys can find me through my website, which is lifebrightnow.com. And I also have a new Instagram page, the Dr. Sunshine. So holler at your girl.
Twinkie, what are we looking for?
What we are looking for.
First of all, let me say this real quick. The casting on American Skin. Okay, sis.
Thank you so much. Casting on American Skin. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you all. I've also cast and executive produced a film called Voodoo Macbeth about the Federation Theater and Negro Ensemble in 1938 and 39 in Harlem. Voodoo Macbeth will be at Pan-African Film Festival online. And I am executive producing another project coming up, and it's loosely entitled A Gospel Christmas. So I've got another Christmas movie coming up.
And a project that's going to be one of my favorite ones that you've cast. I guess the casting is done on it. Good Times, the animation.
Good Times, the animation. Yes. I'm excited about
that. Because I auditioned for it. Don B, what can we look forward to?
Well, I'm waiting for theater to come back full, but while I'm filming something now and I have some projects coming out and I do a feature in the fall. So I'm just writing and just trying to get it all done during this time, this whole pandemic. Just not let take over,
And Richard Lawson.
I am currently taking all of my teaching, my intellectual properties, all the things that I invented in regards to acting, and putting it online so that people on a global basis will be able to learn the craft of acting so that when and if they come to Hollywood or to New York, they will be able to hit the ground running and they won't have to go through a 5 to 15 year learning curve.
And that's a book right there, Richard. That's a book in you.
Come on.
That's a book in you right now.
We need
Yes,
it.
it's at least one.
At least.
At least one, maybe two. Well, thank you so much for being on the show, Dr. Sunshine, Twinkie, Don B. Welch, and Richard Lawson. I hope that everybody watching tonight just logs off and goes for their dream, whatever it may be, because you can do it. I'm doing mine right now. That's the Tammi Mac Late Show on Fox Soul. Until tomorrow, it's a blessing to be in your box. Bye, y'all.